Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back. Great, it's my pleasure to close this day out together, and we're going to focus a little bit further along on the process. We're going to pick up where we left off this morning. Remember this little diagram? Well, we're going to focus on the side to the right, movement, taking action, moving from awareness to commitment to action. So if you take a look at this diagram, I mentioned earlier that if culture proficiency is a journey, whether or not we call it culture proficiency, our journey of continuing to evolve with our consciousness, what does that look like in terms of practice? Well, that's what we could call culturally responsive teaching, with proactive, positive, and restorative relationships at the center. Okay, so what we're going to do here is get comfortable with movement. Remember, in the three-phase process, it's awareness, commitment, and movement, action. So we're going to work with this metaphorically and just bodily, kinesthetically, everything like that. So if you're able, and what I mean by that able, I saw some crutches, things like that. So if you're unable to do this, that's fine. We'll have some people come to you. So what I'm going to ask everyone to do is please stand up and push in your chairs, tuck in anything that someone might trip over, that type of thing. Make sure we're safe. Okay, so what we're going to do here, you're going to find a partner, but we're going to let chaos theory flow here, and you're going to find a partner. Actually, you and your partner are going to find each other eventually. But first, what we're going to do is just get used to the idea of moving. So we're going to kind of walk around the room carefully, in and out of each other. It's kind of tight space. We're going to try to move around each other. And I'll let you know when you'll stop, okay? Okay, so just start moving around, maybe to different spaces in the room. Good, good, looking good, looking good. Explore some different areas in the room. Maybe let your body move a little bit with the music as you're moving. Okay, now your goal. As you're moving, keep moving, but don't stop until you give 10 high fives. Okay, 10 high fives. Keep moving. Okay, now what we're going to do, don't stop until we're going to do, here we go. Your goal now is to do 5 turns. This is what it looks like. Whoa, no, not that violent. Here we go, just that. 5 turns, don't stop until you have 5 turns. Okay, stop with the partner. Whoever you're near, make sure you have somebody. Does everyone have someone? Have a person, one person, not a trio. One person. Okay, if there's a trio, just put your hand in the air and find someone else with their hand in the air. Okay, look around. Find someone with a hand in the air. Wave violently. Okay, I need a partner too. I do. I seriously need a partner. Volunteer? Yes. Okay. Come on up. Ian. Okay. Okay, so Ian and I are going to do something. He's going to help me illustrate this. So what we're going to do is experience this concept of movement and cultural responsiveness. We're going to experience it with our whole body through a little improv exercise. Okay, so we're going to warm up. So first of all, we're going to do like a little face-off. Okay, so turn your back to your partner. Okay, now you're going to have one of three choices. Happy face, sad face, or shocked face. Okay, so happy face looks like, get your happy face on. Cheese, yeah. Okay, now get your sad face on. Now get your shocked face on. Okay, now you're going to pick one, and then on the count of three, you're going to turn around and see if you and your partner match. We'll see how in sync you are, okay? Okay, so pick one, happy, sad, or shocked. Wear it. Okay, everyone got it? Okay, 1, 2, 3, turn around. Okay, now that was just a warm-up to see how in sync you were. So we're going to do something. You and your partner are going to do something. This is called What Are You Doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? So I'm going to do something, and Ian's going to say, John, what are you doing? Okay? And then it's a disassociation game. So I'm going to say something quite different than what I'm doing. And then Ian is going to act that out, and it just goes back and forth and back and forth. So for instance, so I might be doing something like this. Okay? Right? So Ian, you're going to ask me, John, what are you doing? Here, let me get you a microphone. Okay. Ready?
John, what are you doing?
I'm shooting free throws. Yeah. Okay, then go ahead. Keep going. Yeah. Ian, what are you doing? I'm shooting free throws. Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's do that again. Okay, Ian, what are you doing? He's got this. Come on, he's got this. It just took a second. Okay, Ian, what are you doing?
I'm swinging a golf club.
And we go, you can stop. So it goes back and forth, and it's like, you know, I'll be swinging a golf swing, and he'll ask me what I'm doing, and I'll say I'm washing the dishes, and he's got to wash the dishes. So it goes back, it's disassociation, right? So you're going to say something quite different than what you're actually doing. Make sense? Okay, ready? Go ahead, go to it. Yeah. Oh, well, let's try it out. Here. Oh my goodness. This is what goes on in Washoe County. You all look great. Let's hear it for Ian, by the way. Okay, you all look great. Just joking, you look absolutely ridiculous. That was awesome. That was awesome. Okay, so with your partner, talk about this. Okay, first of all, how did it feel to be put in that situation? Maybe what challenged you? But the real conversation you want to get to is this last one. What can we learn about the concept of culturally responsive teaching from what we just experienced? Okay, go ahead and have that conversation for the next 2 minutes. Okay, now your pair, just grab another pair. Grab another pair and tell them what you're talking about. Okay, pair squared. Okay, folks, thank you. Please head on back to your seats. Tell your partner you'll see them later. Thank you. So with a little bit of a smaller group, if we were just a little smaller, we'd be able to unpack this, debrief this a little bit together. I think we could truncate that a little bit. You know, sometimes folks say it felt, a little uncomfortable being on the spot, a little awkward. Their partner said something that they didn't quite know how to act out. You know, that type of thing. The thing I want to tease out here is that when we talk about responsive teaching, culturally responsive teaching, we're talking about operating from a different set of rules. Some people call it a different paradigm. It's much different responding to our students than it is expecting our students to respond to us. And very much improvisation can serve as a really good metaphor for that. And if any of you have done improv before, the more you do it, the better you get at it, and the more you learn to just kind of let go and go with the flow of the energy. Because you can't plan an improvisation. And that's very much what it feels like to be in a responsive type of relationship. What's up on this screen here should look familiar. It's your equity framework. And what we're going to focus on in that center is, in the upper left-hand part of the center, is relationships. Remember this from earlier? 0.72 effect size. Okay, so some of you were in the breakout session that we did in here. I revealed some of the highest variables that impact student achievement. We're going to get into that. And as a reminder, we're focused on climate and engagement. And the very, very first bullet item is positive, proactive, and restorative relationships. So what are the variables that research says really move the needle when it comes to student achievement? Okay, so the very first, top effect size, it's actually over a 0.72, is non-directivity. We'll unpack this a little bit. But just for now, think about this basically as a teacher, I'm not a director. I'm not just barking orders, what to do and how to do it. I'm not just laying down the law and saying, these are the rules. You want to break them, you're going to get punished. So we'll come back to this. Okay, the second biggest variable is empathy. The third, warmth, an inviting classroom environment. Applying the lens of cultural proficiency here, we're talking about an inclusive environment where differences are valued, where students can show up as their authentic selves. Okay, adapting to differences. We experienced that just a little bit with the improv. Okay, changing based on who it is that we're in relationship with. Okay, and it's not just good enough to have a warm environment. You know, the concept of the warm demander adds in, okay, there's that warm environment, but there's really rigorous expectations. So all of that needs to be folded into this one, which is encouraging learning, and then the rigor comes in with encouraging higher order thinking. So those of you who weren't in here earlier, what we did was we applied the lens of cultural proficiency to these 6. And basically, we generated data. We generated examples of what empathy would look like across the cultural proficiency continuum. So what would empathy look like in when it's attempted in a culturally destructive manner versus a culturally competent manner? So that's the red flag I have with all of these. Since these are in aggregate form, the data isn't disaggregated, that means we need to bring an equity lens to it. So basically, it's not quite good enough just to think, okay, how am I doing in terms of empathizing with my students? The next step is, what am I doing to develop my empathy with students with a much different lived experience than I've had, especially when that lived experience has involved, historically being underserved or being on the margins. Okay, so non-directivity, go ahead and take a look, because we can describe non-directivity in a number of different ways, and research says this is the top thing that can happen in the teacher-student relationship. So you might notice right away, all of it deals with power. What are we doing with our power as teachers? How are we sharing it with students? How are we partnering? Metaphorically, people call it student voice. But it's basically partnering with students. Power sharing, a more democratic environment. The Danielson group, Charlotte Danielson, she calls it student assumption of responsibility. So it's where students are involved in determining what their routines are, what their expectations are. They're developing rubrics for their work. All of that illustrates student assumption of responsibility, which is the exact same thing. So student voice, when we talk about student voice, this comes from Russ Qualia and the Qualia Institute. This is the example I like to use because it's got like the stickiness factor, as Malcolm Gladwell would say. Listening to students, learning from students, and leading with students. Now, what Russ Qualia's research shows is that students who feel like their voice matters in school are 7 times more academically motivated than students who feel like their voice doesn't matter, or their identity is being stifled, or that really the teacher doesn't want to hear what they actually have to say. So we'll come back to this. Sticking with the right-hand side of the journey here, okay, it's almost like, remember that metaphor of sitting in the darkness? It's like a caterpillar going into its chrysalis. And at whatever time when it's ready, it starts to break through and comes out as a butterfly, right? That's like the emergence side of things. Knowing that while it's actually in the chrysalis, though, it's pretty gross. Those of you who know biology, it literally it digests itself. It's disgusting. It's like a soupy mess inside that thing, with the exception of some like stem cell type of things, and then it rebuilds itself into something new. So in the darkness, the middle part is messy, and it's also where the magic happens. But we're going to focus in on the coming out of the darkness, the movement, the action, the culturally responsive teaching, that type of thing. And we're going to play around with this with dance being our metaphor. Okay, dance is like an incredible, it's like my favorite form of movement because you can do it in community, and there's this energy that's shared in that process. So we're going to use dance as a metaphor for action, moving from awareness to action. To do that, what we're going to do is revisit. We'll have to turn up the volume on this a little bit because the volume on the video is a little bit lower. Okay, we're going to revisit some of those dancing skeleton people that we saw earlier today, and a few of them, including those cute little girls, are going to be interviewed.
Are we looking at this dance move? The two seem to have it perfected, and when they emerge from behind the screen, Maddie first and her sister Sophie. Their message, love has no disability. Tonight, the video has more than 50 million views, and those dance partners checking in with us.
Hi, David.
The two sisters revealing why they chose that dance.
Maddie likes doing the Egyptian dance.
Do the Egyptian, Maddie. Do it. Do the Egyptian.
And they were just one pairing, one of many. This one, a dancing love story. A kiss and a message. Love has no race. Love has no gender. It's all part of a campaign by the Ad Council tonight, couples and friends who they say embody the idea that love has no label. And the Gray family from California agrees.
She is the same on the inside even though she has special needs.
All of those couples making millions smile tonight, including the sisters and their simple message.
I love my sister.
Super cute, right? Super cute. So in terms of student voice here, one thing I've learned from having 2 daughters is that what one daughter might need, the other one needs something completely different. And the only way I'm going to know that is by listening to, learning from, and leading with both. So I have 2 daughters. My one daughter Irish step dances, which is really good for her. It kind of keeps us connected with our ancestry, but also it's very rigid. It's like really, she learns the steps, she repeats them. It's really, really good for her. The other one, not so much. It's like way too rigid. Well, anyway, I usually, this is a few years ago, this video clip. I usually worked together with my daughter, who Irish step dances when she was in elementary school, to like choreograph something for their variety show. It was a thing she and I would do together. And she said, hey, Josie, the younger one, we're gonna incorporate her. We have it all planned out, but we don't want you to see. We want it to be a surprise. Okay? So this kind of gives you a little bit of a clue. Like when we're talking about culturally responsive type of leadership in teaching, you know, and elevating student voice to do that, different students are going to need different things. Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah, so we could talk about, you know, lessons and everything. I'd say the biggest lesson is when your daughter says we want to surprise you, you should probably preview it beforehand when you have someone like the little one that came in there, because who knows what she would have done. So as we wrap up here, what we're going to do is end this with practicing some moving, okay, some movement. Because having awareness is necessary, it's great, and it's not enough unless we take that and turn it into action. So we're going to do this in community, and also leadership matters. Leadership matters. One of my mentors, Gary Howard, wrote a book that was called You Can't Lead Where You Won't Go. And that represents a lot, but in terms of equity work, leadership matters. Can't lead where you won't go. So what I'm going to do is invite our leaders of like today's topic and today's event. Okay, Dr. Zaki, Tiffany Young. Let's get Karen Parisho up here. Let's get these through. Let's give them some encouragement, please. Come on up. Come on up. We're going to do some practice here, and actually everyone's going to need some safe physical space. So again, if you could just stand up and push in your chairs. This is good. We need this up here. It's very controlled.
I can't lead where you won't go.
Yeah. Okay, so you can't lead where you won't go. So what we're going to do here with the help of Adrian Van Owen is we are going to watch as he demonstrates, and we are going to basically follow the leader here, okay? And we're going to be responding, and you'll notice as the music changes, the dance changes. Okay, if the music playing is the cha-cha, you know, we can't show up doing the hokey pokey, right? Students might be ready for the hokey pokey. We show up doing the East Coast swing. Okay? It's all about being in sync. Okay, so, and we can't lead where we won't go. So we ready? Okay, we're going to follow your lead. Okay, air guitar.
Love it,
put your right foot in, you put your right foot out, you put your right foot in and you shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about.
Super freak, she's super freaking.
Pump it, pump it.
Walk like an Egyptian. Baby, you know that I miss you. I wanna get with you, baby.
Hammer time. Go with the flow. It is said if you've been through the list, you're probably on days. So wave your hands in the air. Bust through your knees, run your fingers through your hair.
Let's hear it for our leadership, please. So while you're up here, let me just turn it over. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
And I was just informed that I'm not invited back after that. But truly, all of my best. I appreciate the audience and just the time with you. I very much enjoyed it, and best wishes moving forward.
Thank you so much, John. Let's give our wonderful keynote, John Krownapple, another round of applause. Thank you so much.